Look at comparing line segments, and we're going to use number 45 to do that. And in number 45 you see that we're given two different line segments. So we're going to, we have the endpoints of those line segments, JK and LM. What we don't know are the distances of those two line segments. If we did, we could very easily compare them and say, yeah, one of them is longer than the other. So what we need to do is find the distance, and we're going to do that using the distance formula. So I've got JK and LM, and I set up my paper like this. I would just say, okay, well, here's JK. We're going to use the distance formula to find how long it is, and here's LM, and we're going to use the distance formula to find how long it is, and then compare the two. Well, again, whenever we do this, we need to figure out what's our x1, our x2 values. So I'd mark them right away and say, let's call this x sub 1, that would make this y sub 1. This would be x sub 2 and y sub 2. And I might as well do that for L and M. So we'll call this x1 and y sub 1, x sub 2, and y sub 2. Okay, so let's just do the first one, JK, first here, and fill in what we know. We said x sub 2 is 4, and we know x sub 1 is negative 4, and so that's all going to be squared. Y sub 2 is 8 minus y sub 1, which was 0. And we're going to square it, and remember, all of that is a distance of the line segment that's under a square root. Okay, and now I can simplify that a little bit more. 4 minus a negative 4 is like 8 squared, plus 8 minus 0 is 8 squared. And if we wanted to, we could say, well, that's 64, that's 64. And so the distance has to be 128, square root of 128. Now, you could simplify that further, but really we just want to compare these two, and so that's probably good enough for now. We'll be able to find out if the other one simplifies down to that. So let's do that other one. Here is LM, and again, we're just plugging in the things that we know. The distance is, I'll get that set up right away. We're going to add the two things in the parentheses, square them both. So x sub 2 was 3, and x sub 1 was negative 4. Y sub 2 is negative 7, and y sub 1 is 2. Okay, so now simplify what we know. 3 minus a negative 4 is like 7. Negative 7 minus 2 is like negative 9. So now we've got 7 squared, which is 49. We've got negative 9 squared, which is 81. And altogether the distance then would be 120, 130, square root of 130. So are they the same? No, they're pretty close. But we see that line segment LM is just a little bit larger, a little bit longer than line segment JK.